Hello, my name is Steve Jablonski, and I'm the host of Financially Speaking with Jeff Bush. We have a great topic today, and it's Annuities 101. But before I get into that, with our clients, we really spend a lot of time identifying the proper risk or the risk that they have versus another client. And we have some people out there, Jeff, that they don't want their portfolio to fluctuate even a penny. And then we have some that are okay with that. So
Yeah,
with
annuities are, well, anyway, so welcome to the show, Steve. Good to be here. It's been a while since we've done a show, so we got to shake the rust off here a little bit. As we tape this here this morning, it's a very, very hot day here in Pottstown, but it's a good day to be inside where it's cool, and we talk about what's really important to our clients, and that is annuities. And the reason why the annuity product is so important is because it's part of a overall financial plan. And the annuities have so many features that are important when you try to put together a plan for a client.
Yes, and when we look at the basic annuities, I know we'll get into some other complexities, but basically there's three general types of annuities.
Yeah. So there's variations of all of them, but first you have your fixed rate annuities where the performance is simply tied to an interest rate. So if interest rates go up, the payout on these annuities are generally higher, and as interest rates go down, the interest rates are lower. And of course, the interest rate environment that we're in right now, interest rates have gone up. So some of these products have become very attractive. So we could talk a little bit about that. Then we have index annuities, and index annuities really have been on the scene probably for about 30 years now. It's hard to believe it's been that long, but index annuities it's actually a type of fixed annuity, but the performance is tied to an underlying index, such as the S&P 500. There's other indexes that are used as well, but the important feature on an index annuity is that there's no risk to principal. And then you have variable annuities, and variable annuities are popular because there's an investment feature to them. So you're investing in what they call sub-accounts, and the sub-accounts are either stocks or bonds or some combination of stocks and bonds, and there is risk to principal on those.
And before we really get into those deeper, let's just start off with what's called a single premium immediate annuity, or a SPIA.
A SPIA is what people use if they want to generate income. More specifically, Steve, guaranteed income. So you can buy a single premium immediate annuity and guarantee a level of income over your entire life. So that becomes important if you have a sum of money that you want to use to maybe simulate a pension if you don't have one, to guarantee a rate of income. The other thing that it does is there's different features to it where you can put a spouse on it, so you can do joint income. So you could protect your spouse and generate guaranteed income that would last over the life of both husband and wife.
And I think I know that we're sort of getting out of the days of pensions, but when there were more pensions, clients and people didn't really know that really that's what the company was doing.
Yeah, that's what really a pension is. It's an annuity. It's a guaranteed annuity, and it's guaranteed for life. So these pensions that you see, and even when you think about Social Security, that's also a form of an annuity. But the SPIA, as we call them, is a way, and again, as I alluded to earlier in the program, it's part of an overall plan. So a lot of times what we'll do is we'll use a single premium immediate annuity to fund a guaranteed portion of a client's income needs. And then when we do that, it allows us to address risk in a different way with other parts of the financial plan.
Good. Now let's move back into the fixed annuity a little bit, and if there's anything we can do to expand on that.
Yeah, so a fixed annuity might be something like a multi-year guaranteed annuity, or what we call MYGA. We're big on acronyms in our business, so MYGA, M-Y-G-A. So you could have maybe you could get like a guaranteed rate for 5 years. So maybe, and I haven't looked at them lately, but let's say maybe you get 5%
Yes.
for 5 years, and then that's guaranteed. And then when the 5 years are up, then you make a decision on what you want to do. You either renew it for another 5 years at the rate that's in effect at the time, or you take the investment and you do something else with it.
And that's something our clients really depend on us, because we're behind the scenes always knowing, if we go back 6 years ago, the rates were a little bit different.
Yeah, we're in a vastly different interest rate environment now than we were, as you said, 6 years ago, which was really pre-COVID, where interest rates were next to nothing, and you really weren't getting much, whether it was a SPIA or whether it was a fixed annuity. We weren't even proposing them because the rates were so low. Because one thing that you have to remember with a fixed annuity, if you buy a 5-year product, you're stuck with it for 5 years. Yep. So if interest rates go up, you're stuck with that multi-year annuity that's maybe paying 5%. When maybe if you were buying a brand new one, maybe the rates would be higher if interest rates are going up.
And in the last couple of years, you could get a 3-year or a 2-year annuity, or a savings bond, or a CD, and the rates were 5%. And now that the rates have been going down just a little bit, you got to go real short to get.
Yeah, and where the annuity's popular too is, well, for a couple of reasons why they're popular. But one is that the interest is tax deferred. So if you're looking for a way to save on taxes currently, these annuities are good vehicles because you're deferring the tax, and you can control when you take the money. So maybe when you cash the annuity in, or maybe or when you die, it passes on to the next generation. Whoever inherits it, they're going to pay the tax.
Yep. Good. So now we talked a little bit about fixed indexed annuities. Let's go back to them for a little bit.
Yeah. Boy, that's a show unto itself, fixed index annuities. But basically what happens is, and the reason why they became so popular is because it was a way for an investor to participate in the market without taking market risk, pure and simple. And these products have come a long way. Now there's all kinds of riders on them that guarantee income, guarantee a death benefit. So there's a lot of bells and whistles on them, and we, again, it's our job to understand these products and be able to interpret them and explain them to our clients. And the other thing, Steve, too, is in our fiduciary role, we have relationships with dozens of different carriers, so we can shop the market and get the product that's the best suited for our clients. But the index annuities are it's a way to participate in the market where you're not taking the market risk. Now, it's important to say that you're not going to have full participation in the upswing of the market. So if that's what you're looking for, this is not the vehicle. In other words, if, let's say, you have a year where the stock market goes up 20%, it's unlikely that you're going to get 20% gain in a fixed index annuity. Why is that? Well, because there's caps, there's participation rates, there's all sorts of uh, things that the insurance company is using
Yep.
to guarantee your money, where at this, because they got to guarantee the principal if the account goes down. So if the account goes up, then you're not going to have full participation in the market. So you have to understand that.
Because there's caps, spreads, and participation
Yeah.
that we really help our clients sift
Yep.
through.
Yep. Caps, spreads, and participation rates. So do we want to go through those?
We can touch on, caps easy.
Yeah. So a cap. What's a cap? So a cap is the most that you're going to make in a particular in a particular strategy. So let's say the cap is 5%. Well, that means regardless of what the stock market does, the most you're going to make is 5%. So if the market goes up 8%, how much are you going to make? 5. If the market goes up 4%, how much are you going to make? 4. Yeah, so the most you're going to make is 5. So again, if you have a wild year in the market and it goes up 20%, you're going to be capped at 5.
And you look at that, and most of these two, the fixed and the index, they're priced like a CD, which is no cost, and they only play or participate in that market.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not it's a defensive strategy, but we have clients that don't want to take any risk,
Yep.
any market risk, and of course you always do that with your Riskalyze, being the head of our risk department here at Wellspring Financial. So we assess the client's risk and we determine where they should appropriately be invested. The other feature of an index annuity is a spread. So what's a spread? A spread means that you're going to get whatever the market gives you minus a predetermined spread. So let's say the spread's 2% and the market goes up 9. How much are you going to get?
7.
7. You're going to get the 9 that the market did minus whatever the spread is. So if the spread's 2, you're going to get 9 minus 2.
Yep.
You're going to get 7. So they're kind of popular because you're going to get most of what the market gives you, okay, the spread. And then the other feature with an index annuity is participation rate, right? So let's say you have a participation rate of 65%. That means whatever the market generates, you're going to get 65% of it, right? So if the market goes up 20%, you're going to get 65%, which is 13%. You're going to get a 13% return in that example.
Yep.
So there's all kinds of features with an index annuity, and they're somewhat complex to understand. So it's an education process
Sure.
with index annuities for sure.
And then we go over to the variable.
Yeah, so variable annuities are, it's sort of a good way to participate in the market and get stock market gains if you want to be in equities, right? And get tax deferral. And the other important feature of a variable annuity is there might be some riders that come into play that give you maybe income, could be guaranteed income, could be a death benefit. There's death benefit riders. Again, these products have come a long way since I've been in the business, and I've been in the business now for 30 years, and we've seen quite an evolution in these products over the 30 years. And again, we have relationships with several different carriers, so we can find out what's the most important feature for whatever the need is for our clients.
And if you talked a little bit about a couple of riders, one being a death benefit, how's that work?
Yeah, so well, if you have a death benefit rider, it could be as simple as a rolled up death benefit. So let's say the there's a rider that guarantees that at a minimum the account is going to grow at, let's say, 5% as an example. So if you put in $100,000 into this variable annuity, the death benefit is going to grow at a minimum of 5% per year. Okay, so that's a death benefit rider. The income riders are very popular because you can generate some income, generate guaranteed income, and then keep the principal in play, or keep the principal in the market. Unlike the SPIA that we talked about earlier in the program, where you really lose the principal when you buy the SPIA.
Yep. Yeah. And as far as the income riders, there's joint, single.
Yeah, so you can do the same. You can do the same thing here as you could do on the fixed annuity and the index annuity. You can get, and the SPIA as well. Single life, joint life if you're married. So you can spread the guarantee out over one life or two lives. And then there's other features too on some of these products where they increase tied to either performance, or it could be tied to inflation. Yep. Or indexing. So there's ways that you can increase your payment and really have the chance to increase your income benefit over time. Because one thing that I think people have to realize when they retire is that inflation risk is probably the biggest risk that you're going to take. Oftentimes, people think it's stock market risk, but it really is inflation risk, because when you retire, a lot of times you're on a fixed income and you don't know what future inflation is going to be, right? So you retire when you're 65, let's say, you don't know what things are going to cost when you're 75 or when you're 85, right? Especially when you're that age, and people of that age typically spend a lot of their dollars on medical expenses, and medical costs tend to rise higher than the typical rate of inflation. So some of these annuity products and some of the features on them give you the chance to increase your income over time.
In a comprehensive plan, which we do, we have different pieces, and annuity is definitely a long-term investment.
Yeah.
And
yeah, because you're playing the long game, right? So if you look at the plans that we've done for all of our clients over the years, we have different strategies, different buckets. So oftentimes we'll put the annuity in a long-term strategy, because we're looking, you're deferring taxes over a long period of time. Maybe you want to guarantee income over a long period of time, like lifetime income, or a death benefit in there. So it becomes part of the legacy. So it really is part of an overall plan, and it's really part of a long-term strategy.
And you touched on the tax deferral of an annuity, and I think this might be a good time to maybe just go over different investments. How are they taxed? Short-term, long-term, 100% taxable?
Yeah. So if you let's say that you have your money in a brokerage account, and you have various investments in there: stocks, bonds, mutual funds, exchange-traded funds, whatever. It's just a big mix of different type of investments. To the extent that those investments generate income, that income is going to be taxable. And it's going to be taxable as ordinary income in the year that you earn it, right? So, and in the case of stock, if you are buying and selling stock, when you go to sell a stock, if you're holding the stock for more than 1 year, then you're going to pay capital gains tax on that transaction. And typically capital gains taxes are less than ordinary income taxes. So there's a whole tax element to consider here with the annuity, because any gains inside the annuity are deferred, right? So with a deferral, then you're not paying any tax until you take the money out. So that's the important difference between a regular investment and an annuity investment.
Yes, and then if you don't ever need the investment to live off of,
Yeah, well then, you can die with an
Yeah.
annuity, and it then becomes part of your legacy. And if the annuity passes on to the beneficiary, then the beneficiary inherits the annuity and inherits the tax liability that goes along with it.
and since we're on taxes, and this is a little bit off the annuity subject, but how do when we do Roth IRAs, what's the utilization of them for our clients?
Well, with a Roth IRA, what you're doing is you're getting tax-free growth on a Roth IRA. So if you're doing a Roth conversion, for example, when we use the term Roth conversion, we're talking about converting a traditional IRA, or maybe it's a 401k, into a Roth. And when you do that, Steve, what you're doing is you're taking the tax liability on that IRA account, all the future tax liability, and you're pulling it into the current year. So if you do the Roth conversion this year, you're going to pay the taxes this year.
And with the utilization of that, I mean, there's a couple things. One, that they can be utilized to stay in a lower tax bracket, and then the other is for legacy planning.
Yeah, so a lot of times if clients are not taking required minimum distributions yet, which doesn't happen until you're age 73. So let's say you stop working at 65, and you don't have to take a required minimum distribution until you're 73. That's 8 years where your income could be lower than it was when you're working, and it's going to be lower than when you take your RMDs. So that you can do some conversions and take advantage of being in a lower tax bracket. So let's say you're in a 22% tax bracket. If you do conversions, you're going to pay taxes at a rate of 22%. And then when you do that conversion, then all future growth on that Roth IRA is tax-free. And it's tax-free to you, it's tax-free to your spouse, and then it's tax-free as a benefit to your children.
And I know we haven't talked about this in the last few shows, but it's really how we're put together, being a fiduciary, being independent. Let me touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, so Wellspring Financial, we're an independent financial planning organization. We were formed back in 2001. We have a slide with all our locations. We have 4 locations. We have a location right here in Pottstown where we're recording the show today. We have an office in Norristown. And then we recently acquired another company that has 2 offices also. So an office in Wyomissing, right outside of Reading, and then an office in Allentown. So Wellspring Financial is an independent financial planning organization. So why that is so important to our clients is because we're in a fiduciary role, meaning that we're acting in the best interest of our clients. And as an independent firm, we have access to a lot of product and a lot of different strategies and a lot of different companies. So it gives us the flexibility to shop the market and search the market and find out what's the best and the best suitable product for our clients.
And when we look at our firm, we have the 7 pillars, and we have the pillar that it's more giving back, it's more educating people, it's helping people that are close to our clients, and we do some things like this this show here we've done for years. We've been published, as you see on one of the slides, in many things. And why don't you tell us a little bit about legacy, Social Security, market updates that we really do too.
Yeah, so here at Wellspring, we have a philosophy where we want to give back. We want to educate. So we have we do the TV show, which we've been here on PCTV since 2013. So it's hard to believe we've been here for 12 years. But in addition to the show, we've been published in many different magazines, and we've been interviewed on various radio shows, podcasts, etc. Just to get the word out. And then we do take the show on the road a lot. We do public seminars. We're now doing what's called the Retirement Design Lab, or we refer to that as the RDL, where we go out to various locations within those territories where we have offices, and people can just come and learn more about retirement and Social Security and just what it takes to retire. And then for our clients, we have a lot of events where we're just really focused on education. We have legacy planning is another program that we just started last year, where we get a local attorney to come in and speak to our clients about what's important in terms of doing your long-term plan or your legacy plan.
Yeah, one of the favorite ones has been the cybersecurity.
Yeah, so we did. That was last year. We did an event where we had we brought in an expert on cybersecurity, which is a very popular topic with our clients, because it's everywhere. The threat of cyber attacks are everywhere, Steve. So as we put a wrap on today's show, I just want to say this is a really good topic covering annuities. And if you want information, you can contact our office. We'll put the information right up on the screen. And with that being said, we're going to sign off today. This is Financially Speaking, and I'm your host, Jeff Bush.